Joining us now is NBC News legal analyst Misty Marris. Misty, there was a lot to digest there. What did the justices say yesterday that signaled that they might be inclined to rule one way over the other?
Yeah, the conservative majority really seemed like it was going in the direction of maybe not gutting the Voter Rights Act, Section 2, which is the relevant section here, but making significant changes that would be very, very significant, not just in this jurisdiction, but nationwide. So Section 2 prohibits voting practices and procedures that are discriminatory based on a protected class, based on race. And so the question is, what is the remedy? Can race, if there is a Section 2 violation, be taken into consideration? And all eyes, Kate, are on Justice Kavanaugh, who was really in the questioning yesterday, seemed to indicate that there was a willingness to either really dilute what the current standard is or make a even more significant change, even if it doesn't mean overruling that particular law.
Well, and so just 2 years ago, Misty, the Supreme Court reaffirmed the requirement that race be considered when redrawing districts. It was a separate case from Alabama, right? That surprised court watchers. So what has changed and how does that case play in here, if at all?
Certainly, it was a huge topic of conversation yesterday during the oral argument. And Kavanaugh, in that particular case in Alabama, was the deciding vote. So the question is, and what the focus was for the lawyers representing the voters, that this is legal precedent. It would make no sense for this case to go in a different direction than the Alabama case, which allows for redistricting based on race when there is a violation of Section 2. But Justice Roberts also jumped in and said, well, this case is factually different. It's distinct. And so I am, as Roberts, not looking at it as necessarily as precedent. And then, of course, you have the state of Louisiana who's saying that actually the law has been misinterpreted and this should not be the standard. And the court actually has to revisit the standards when it comes to this law and when it comes to the remedy. So, of course, it's being taken into consideration. The question is, in what way will the court deal with it? Will they overrule it and change it? Will they follow it as precedent, or will they make a distinction and say this case is factually different? So sometimes yes and sometimes no.
So, Misty, whatever happens here, does a ruling about Louisiana apply to the rest of the country?
Yes, because now we're talking about the Supreme Court weighing in, so this will be the law of the land. And because of that, while this particular issue and this particular set of facts relates to Louisiana, this would be precedent that would allow all of the states to take a look at what their practices are with respect to districting and redistricting and make significant change based on the legal standard. And what we heard from the attorneys for the voters, as well as the questioning from some of the liberal justices, they say this could be catastrophic and really will impact the election cycle.
All right, Misty Marris, thank you so much.